right, hang on. Let me get situated. I just had my earbuds in. I was listening to a TikTok. This is my life. This depicts what my life is like most days, right here. Welcome to the anxious woman. See, I said it right this time. I didn't say the nervous woman, even though I'm both. There. How's that? That'll work. I'm mildly uncomfortable. It's June the 8th. It's raining. Nothing new here. George was kidding with me this morning. We were kind of kidding about the fact that my dream trip is to go to Bali. I've wanted to go to Bali since I watched Eat, Pray, Love with Julia Roberts. To go and sit and meditate and just be in Bali. Well, checking the weather in Bali, it rains almost every day. So we were talking this morning and I said, like, wow, it's almost like I'm in Bali because it's rained almost every day here since April. I think we get a day of sun, 4 days of rain. A day of sun, 4 days of rain. So now we're in the 4 days of rain stage. It started at 3 p.m. And then he said something like, yeah, well, we know we have the deck and there's all these, we have all, all the flowers and the palms and the ferns, and it's just like the tropical lush Bali. And he said, yeah, we even have the bamboo on the side. Like so. So basically when I go out on my deck, I'm going to Bali. That's where I'm at. It's not my deck anymore, it's Bali. Water. I had my coffee already. Didn't use the frother because I wanted to actually like taste my coffee and not taste like it was like a milkshake. All right, I want to show you a couple things. I ordered a cell phone car holder. I had one in my last car. When the car went back, when I had to give the car back because of finances after Sky passed away, the car holder that was in there, which I loved, I was afraid to take it off. It was on the dash, and I was afraid to take it off for fear that everything would be really gummy. And I know that the dealership has like special solutions that they could get that off perfectly. So I just left it on there. I had it for 2 years. I just figured I'd get another one someday. So I ordered this one from Amazon. It was $29. It's supposed to be like military grade. So, and you'll hear George, he's down in the basement cutting pieces of wood for a stretcher bar for one of his paintings. So, there we go. We got that. I love that when that does that. And then it's got the little seal. We all have these. So this can go on the windshield. It can go on the dash. It can go on the vent. I have to figure out where. I guess he put it all together because this was in like 3 pieces yesterday. He did. I have to figure out where I want to put this because and this is a telescopic thing. Look, it goes like that. And then it also goes like this. And there's something else it does too. But anyway, the new cars have the square navigation map next to the steering wheel. And that's also, the whole radio setup and your Sirius music. I don't have Sirius XM or whatever it is. I don't want to pay for it. I can get a package deal, get Sirius XM, get the navigation map. I bought a GPS. It was like $265. It's really nice. It's like the screen's like this big, and it works perfectly. So I don't, that's already been long ago bought. So there's no sense in me paying for a navigation map, right? It would be $25 a month for the map and Sirius XM together. But I'm not in the car enough to listen to music and pay that kind of money. So, so since that big square is there, and then we put the GPS up on the windshield, it's like, where's this going to go? So it's probably going to go in the vent, yeah. Or if I think I can stick it, on the square, the navigation, without ruining that whole thing. I don't know. I'm going to get it figured out. Anyway, so that came yesterday. That wasn't an overnight deal. It was like ordered it on a Thursday, got it on a Saturday morning. There's nothing exceptionally new other than I had coffee. Keeps wanting to jump out at me, I guess. Okay. I'm dealing with a UTI again. Now, someone said a couple of videos ago, like back a couple of videos ago, something like this is like honeymoon UTIs, or too much, playing house. And I commented on the comment and said, no, that's not the reason. Well, things have changed up a little bit. And guess who's suffering from honeymoon UTI syndrome? Okay. Now, what I think happened is, let me just say that I'm not a big fan of doctors, which you guys know. I'm not. I'm really not. Even though I loved my PCP, and my new PCP that I'll see in a few weeks, she's wonderful, and I'm looking forward to having my first visit with her, but I'm not big on the whole institution of medicine, so to speak. So I think when I got a UTI, a few UTIs ago, because now it's getting kind of a chronic, I think that it never cleared up. Just being honest, being transparent. What I didn't want to do was go to urgent care, because I don't have normal UTI symptoms. Like, I don't have the pain, but I have symptoms. Okay. So there was a day, a couple of weeks ago, I was in Walmart, and he was getting a script for something, his blood pressure or something, and I was just browsing around, and I saw all these different test kits, and I saw one for UTIs, test at home. And so I said to him, the hubby, I'd like to go and get a UTI at-home test kit. So we checked CVS. Walmart, they're $15. CVS, they're $10.99. So we went to CVS and got a UTI at-home test kit. Now there's 3 of these in the box. And you do the whole pee on the stick just like you do with a pregnancy test, even though for some of us pregnancy tests were long ago, right? But it's the same kind of thing. Now what this tests for is leukocytes, which is white blood cell, and then nitrites. And it takes 1 and 2 minutes to get the results. So they give you this little color bar. And when I took the test yesterday, the nitrite came up negative. Here, it was this color. The leukocytes came up this real pretty purple. I mean, literally, I hit the stick and it was purple. Like, there was no guessing. I didn't have to look, and I didn't need to wait. It was this purple. So on the back, it gives the instructions, like if this is negative and this is negative, or if this is what you do. So because I had a positive leukocyte and a negative nitrite, it suggests a sign of a UTI. And then it says, make sure you're really clean, which I'm really clean, and repeat the test the next time you go to the bathroom. So, well, at $11 a box, I didn't want to use another one that quickly, because I'm pretty sure I know what's going on, at least I think. And I have antibiotics. So I'm on antibiotics, and these are the generic for the Azo test strips, AZO. Azo also is a company who makes the bladder pills, the bladder numbing pills, so that you don't have that pain in your bladder when you're trying to go pee and it feels like something's being ripped out of your body, you know. This is a short grip handle, tests for both leukocytes, which is white blood cells, and nitrite. And so Azo would be the brand name for any of these kind of things. But what really interested me, and you find these things in the feminine care aisle. If you go to a CVS, in the feminine care aisle, that's where these were. You wouldn't believe, or I couldn't believe, the number of tests that you can buy to do at home. I was so surprised. They have the Plan B. You can get the Plan B. They had something called Aftercare, which is the same as Plan B, right? The morning after pill. They had one called, it was either Julie or Julia, something like that. And then they had the UTI test kits. They had the drug test kits for like your marijuana and other drugs, LSD and stuff like that. Then they had a test, you could test your thyroid at home. It had the colon cancer test for at home, or like the signs of it. It had a whole, it had diabetes. It had cholesterol, your lipids, like your whole, the lipids one was $159, $149. You can test all this stuff at home. Now, when I go to the doctor in 2 weeks-ish, I'm going to ask for a bone density scan, because it's covered by my insurance, it's free. I'm over 65, and they'll cover that to see what condition my bones are in, which is probably brittle, to be honest. I'm thin, I'm Irish, I'm over 65. And we're going to I'm going to ask for a whole panel of blood tests, like test my cholesterol, all of it, the triglycerides, test my thyroid if the insurance is going to cover it, test for anything she thinks she should test me for. Test me. If you've got to take 18 vials of blood, take them, because I want to know across the board everything, the numbers of everything I want to know. So I'm going to talk to her about this UTI business. There's a lady that I know who went through chronic UTIs. Now, I'm older. My bladder, I had a hysterectomy when I was like 41 or 42. So I'm now 65. So that's 20-some years ago, right? Your bladder drops anyway as you get older. And so makes you even more susceptible for UTIs. You can get UTIs from wearing a wet bathing suit, wearing thongs, which I don't do, wearing leggings, which I do. Um, if you wipe from back to front, which I don't, you always wipe front to back. We all know that, front to back. What else? What was there was like a whole list of, you can Google it. How do you get UTIs? There's a whole thing of how you can get a UTI. Anyway, so there's a lady I know who's had chronic UTIs. She's in her 80s, right? Chronic UTIs, and she's on some kind of medicine or herbal medicine or something every single day. Now, I know that there are some women that take a low dose antibiotic every day to combat something like this. So I'm going to talk to my doctor about all of it. Now, there's no estrogen in my system, right? Because I had the hysterectomy. I'm postmenopausal. I have been for 20 some years. And my old PCP, he'd put me on this estrogen cream, a low dose, and he said to use it sparingly, like a trace of estrogen cream, trace, because estrogen cream tends to give me fatty deposits that show up on my mammograms, and then they don't know what this spot is. And I've already had one stereotactic biopsy back 15, 16 or more years ago. I had to have a stereotactic biopsy so that they could see it was fluid-filled or solid. It was fluid-filled. And so as they compare my mammograms, which I think my last mammogram was, 2025? When was my last mammogram? I don't think I've had a mammogram since 2019. I would say probably 2018. 7 years. Could that be right? Maybe not quite, but pretty close. I've never had a colonoscopy. My mother never had a colonoscopy. She lived to just about 98. And anyway, so I'm going to get some testing done. Blood test is a big thing. I could, my chart, I could do a my chart request, but I'd like to have a chance to sit down with her and talk to her about what I'm feeling, and so that she has a better picture of what it is that I'm feeling at this point, and hopefully she's going to have some solutions. So now my insurance would cover a urine test, which most likely she's going to request. She's going to have me do a urine sample when I go up for the office visit, just to make sure that, negative or positive. And my blood test should be covered by the insurance. And I know the bone scan is. But if you don't have insurance, or you're just scared to death of the doctor or whatever, drugstores have a myriad of at-home tests now, like so many different at-home tests. It's just, if you didn't know, and you're just curious, and you're in a store one day, like a CVS, like a whatever drugstore, Walgreens or whatever is in your area, go in that, like I said, CVS, it was a feminine care aisle. Just go in and walk around and check out how many test kits were in there. Now, I think CVS is leaning more towards like becoming a lot more medical, and less like a all-purpose store, even though they still have makeup and magazines and cleaning supplies and all that. But there's a whole lot more health things that I've seen. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Am I uncomfortable? Yes, extremely uncomfortable. I've been on antibiotics for a couple days, and so I'm hopeful in the next 48 hours or so I start to feel a little bit better. And because this is no fun, and I'm hydrating like crazy. I don't like cranberry juice. A lot of people drink cranberry juice, but it makes my mouth so dry. It makes my throat sore. So I'm doing this. If anybody wants to talk about this, because this is so female personal, but also men get UTIs. So this is not just a woman thing. It's also a man thing. I just don't think men would talk about it. But if you care to share any experiences, throw it in the comments below. And what do you think about drugstores selling so many over-the-counter kits? What do you think? Is that a good idea, a bad idea? Just give me your opinion. I'm curious, because if you buy a test kit of any kind, you still are, especially if something comes up positive, you have to see your doctor, right? So you still have got to go to the doctor. Then you have some knowledge because you took this little test. You have some knowledge, but still, like with the UTI, they've got to test the urine to see what kind of bacteria it is, to see what kind of antibiotic to put you on, because some antibiotics they just don't do the trick with UTIs. Some of them are very specific for UTIs. The one that I'm on is very specific for a UTI. So we'll see how it works. But throw some things down in the comments if you would. What your feeling is, not only on that, but on the test kits. What do you think? Today's Sunday. We have an appointment on Tuesday to check about something with our roof. And the rest of the week, who knows? It's supposed to rain, I think, all the way through Thursday. But it's one of those, it'll rain for an hour, and it'll stop, and it'll rain for an hour, and it'll stop. It's kind of crazy. So right now, I'm looking out the window. It stopped. I'm going to go. I have a couple things to tackle here at the house. I want to get to either Dollar Tree or Dollar Zone to look for pots, I want to say wash baskets, but I have 3 ferns out on the deck, okay? And the pots are way too small. These ferns are gigantic. So I need to repot them into something big. And then I'll just put them on the deck. And then I'll have 3 hanging baskets. And I have the flowers over on the side in the flower boxes. So I'll take hang on. I have three planters on the table. I'll take those 3 planters and put them in the hanging baskets. Okay. Then I'll have 3 empty small pots. Are you following me? And then the flowers that are on the side in the long baskets, I'll take what plants are good and healthy and put them in the little pots. And then in the center of these long planters, there's this grass. It's the stuff that looks like grass, I want to get 2 more for each of those planters, if I can find them at Lowe's or Home Depot. and then plant them in there so that there's 3 per flower planter. So I'd have 3 grassy flower planters, 3 flower hanging baskets, and then 3 flower pots on the table. And then the ferns would go into bigger pots and just sit on the deck because they're so big. So I need 3 pots, I need a big bag of soil, and I need 6 of those, what are they called? Does anybody know what they're called? The grassy, they're like this high and they go out like this, the grassy plants. If you know the name of them, put them in the comments for me. All right, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you soon.